On this episode of Team Building Saves the World.
The key to it is your people coming together and celebrating.
When you let go and allow yourself to be in that element, you learn things about yourself and how you interact with the people you work with.
It becomes like, wait, you also collect vintage comic books? And I didn't know. I do the same.
I'm feeling a little called out by Stephanie now, but...
They come in, and unless Jayne is shaped like an open bar, sometimes people like judge...
Hello, team. It's me, your old friend Rich Rinnensland, host of Team Building Saves the World, the show where I speak to the leaders and innovators in employee wellness and corporate culture on how it reflects in the world of today. And today, it's home for the holidays. We'll be discussing preparations for the upcoming holiday season with my fellow facilitators at TeamBonding, CJ Urciuoli, Stephanie Windland, and returning friends of the show, Kevin Pertusiello and Jayne Hanna. But first, I need to share some love with the rest of my supporters at TeamBonding. If your team is ready to experience teamwork through the power of play, then visit TeamBonding.com to learn more. Now, team, join me in welcoming my dear friends and co-workers, CJ Urciuoli, Stephanie Windland, Kevin Pertusiello, and new Director of Corporate Training and Virtual Events for TeamBonding, Jayne Hanna. You know what I love, guys? It's that every time I get to do this podcast, I tell all the people out there about how I have this group of people chained up under my desk, and their whole job is to applaud. Now they get to meet you.
You know, they're those soft chains that have like the feathers around them. And Rich, the love that you give to us just for we can clap, we could always thank you for it.
Well, you know, that's why we're here.
Snacks, boys.
I'd like to thank them.
So we are talking the holidays. Jayne, of course, let's start off with you. First off, congratulations on the new title. It's been a couple of years since you've been on the podcast, but that's huge. Congratulations. And thank you for all that you continue to do for the company.
Thank you for saying that. My privilege.
But let's talk about the holidays themselves, because a lot of people are going to be hearing this in September. And they're going to be wondering, it's like walking into Walmart in October and seeing Christmas decorations everywhere. Why are we talking the holidays? So why are we talking the holidays this early?
We are those people who put it out so early, but we already have in person 10 holiday bookings for December and about 20 virtual holiday bookings already. So one does it early because real live people facilitating, which makes our program so energetic and key to the interaction. We don't hire everyone. So we're going to run out of people. So as we do every year. So we recommend, make that decision, commit to that, book yourself in, then you've got your space, you've got your virtual space, your time, and you know which program you're going to do. Get it, commit to it, look forward to it. So do it early.
Well, let's stick with you for a second here, Jayne, because before we get to the fun of us just reminiscing and talking about why it is we do that, what we do. If I am somebody who wants to get their corporate family together for the holidays, what kind of things should I be keeping in mind right now?
Great question. Think about carefully, do you want to do this virtually? Do you want to be all together? Do you want to do hybrid? Because we have options for all of that, and discuss that with your account manager. Look at the benefits of that. If you have 1,000 people globally, chances are virtual is a really good option for you. If you have 20 people, that your mum owns a restaurant, you can have the private room in Connecticut in the restaurant. That might be a good option to do in person. Think about your budget. We have things for all sorts of budgets. So in-person, hybrid, and virtual. Think about that first. And then talk to the account manager and look at all the different options that we've got. And remember, nothing is in stone. So it is in snow. So we can change it. We can make things adaptable. We are very flexible and highly creative. We will occasionally say, no, that's not going to work, and here's why. But how about we do this? So again, the earlier that one locks those things in, think about your different people. So if you are global, think virtually, think about your different time zones that you're looking at. Right. Think about your age group. I am of the older, so I want a 2.5 hour program. Apparently younger people don't. So let's look at shorter times, but more dynamic and energy. What else do you want to do? Do you want to do food? Do you want to do, if you're in person, do you want them eating virtually? Do you want to do speeches? Think about all of those things to lock in or do around the program that you're doing.
Now, Stephanie, as our resident younger person, shorter? Is that what, do you prefer shorter?
It really depends. Jayne said it well. I think that our attention spans are not as great, so we love short. But I also know that we've done a bunch of events where maybe it's a short game, or let's say an hour and a half event that we're running, but then they get this really cool happy hour after, and they can all talk to each other. And so I kind of like a combination. I'm going to go with whatever includes food. That's really
So you're hoping that indeed the grandmother's restaurant somewhere in Connecticut that we can all go to.
If your event is 5 hours, but you're feeding me, I'm there.
Hey, CJ, do you remember that beautiful ceremony when we both handed over the title of resident young person to Stephanie? Wasn't that beautiful?
It was magnificent.
I
had to rip out that trophy.
I'm so closer to Jayne's age, I wasn't even invited to that.
Oh, it was way past your bedtime, Rich.
I know. So, what about you guys? Let's talk in general. Whoever wants to answer first, please feel free to jump in. Why is it important that we even do this, that we offer this? What have you seen in your prolific careers as facilitators, each and every one of us, that makes the holidays important to our customers?
Well, I'll chime in and say that one thing that I know is really important, especially to businesses and companies, is that we have a lot of programs where there's a charitable element to it. And around the holidays, people are always looking for ways to give back and to support all the wonderful causes. And especially after the pandemic and the horrendous 2 years that we've been through, or 3 years now, people need that more than ever. And I think businesses and companies realize the height and weight of that. So it's even more important during the holidays when people expect to have a happy holiday or a way of making the most of whatever situation they're in.
Let me ask you, CJ, what is your favorite holiday event you have ever led? And why is it a show I've written?
Well, it probably is, to be honest with you. But I will tell you that there are a lot of holidays. I mean, I think most people think about Christmas and Halloween as the big ones. But I'll tell you a holiday that is, I think it's just fresh in my head because I just did one of these events, but we do tools for schools and kids going back to school right now. I mean, they're all going back to school, and I just did one, and it meant the world to the people that were filling these backpacks with school supplies. And it was to support a group that their cause was women and children and families affected by domestic violence. So, I mean, that is some heavy stuff. And to just be able to have fun, create these bags that then are going to create a happy moment for these kids that are just, beside themselves with everything else going on in their life. It just means so much. So I would say for right now, back to school.
Well, you are a father. How old's your son now?
He's 15 years old.
So he's 15 years old, and he considers going back to school a holiday?
He does not.
I was about to say, does he normally get beaten up? Is that?
He just thinks it's another day. No, yeah. But,
speaking of someone who would beat up CJ's nervous son, Kevin, what about you? Let's think more toward the holiday planning itself. What kind of shows are you looking forward to leading again?
Oh my goodness. The ultimate holiday party, once that came around, and it is what's so great about it is that it's so customizable. Like, it's really almost anything that you can think of until Jayne tells you, no, that's not what we do. But as a whole, like, the fact that you can have a large group of people, typically virtually, though I have heard that we also have a live version of this, that you can have people that are part of your team, that are part of your company, being able to do many different activities all at the same time, having a host starting everything off, getting things rolling, and then using breakout rooms and other facilitators to be able to have so many different kinds of activities, from reindeer racing to bingo to trivia, anything that you could think of. And then they end up rotating. So they have a chance to actually participate and play in all of these activities through a full party. One of the things that I just love seeing with the holidays is that not only are companies trying to piggyback off CJ to give back, but also to give back to their employees and just show that kind of appreciation all for the entire year. I mean, obviously with the past 3 years, like at the point of every year, we're just like coming into the finish line. And how could these companies give back to all the people that have been working so hard all year? So I know that the challenge has always been, how do we make this special? How do we make this unique, whether it be virtual or in person? One of my complete favorites that we did, I think at the end of 2020, this was about 300 employees. And, they have this budget. They have this budget for an end of the year party. And at that time, of course, we were not getting together in person. We were doing this all virtually. They still had that same budget, as if they were going to rent out a hall, as if they were going to have, open bar and food and whatnot. We still have this budget. What do we do with it? So they came to us at TeamBonding and they're like, let's figure this out. And what they ended up doing was having an ultimate holiday party. They had a couple of different events going on throughout the day. And then they took the remainder of the budget and they did an entire hour-long raffle of items for everybody. So we had an entire virtual wheel going, and we spun that every time a name came up, there was a new prize. And there was a range. We went from cappuccino machines all the way to outdoor grills and brand new curved television sets. It was just an awesome way. And people are cheering. Kids are there on Zoom and they are losing their minds. It's just trying to find what is going to be the best, just like Jayne said, what is going to be the best fit for your team and how can you give back, giving them a unique time.
So Jayne, let's look back. When you were first on, it was on the podcast, I should say, early days of the pandemic still, where we were pivoting madly. I don't even think when you were first on that we'd even started talking about the holidays yet, because that was like June or July of 2020.
Yeah.
Well, what did that first holiday year look like for us?
We pushed so hard on the pedal for the virtual programming. We were doing about 2% of virtual programming before COVID, and it was mainly our serious training programs. Well, we pushed so hard, we went 100% virtual. And from Halloween through to the beginning of January, I don't know the numbers, but
that's okay.
we were doing, oh my gosh, I know last year my world record was 330 events that I planned for 3 weeks.
Nice.
In December, and that was me alone. We really did well. I think one day we had like 200 happening that first year in December, just back to back to back. We learned a lot and we learned it fast. And now we got this, like last year was tremendously busy, but it felt easier for us because we knew what we were doing. The biggest thing is to take advice from us. We know what works. I always say simplify, don't overdo things. The key to it is your people coming together and celebrating. And that's the same in person or virtual. There's no difference. Just remember that we are human beings. And if you pack out your day and your agenda too much, or you expect minute by minute to minute, I guarantee it's not going to work, because George will be late or Henrietta will want to take a call, whatever. So we have to be flexible, but remember that celebration is key. So yeah, that's what we focused on for the last, 2-3 years of this time of being together.
Speaking of being flexible, gang, hold on for me for 1 second, because I do need to tell everybody out there about a company we are all so proud to be a part of, TeamBonding. TeamBonding was founded over 20 years ago with one simple question: how can employees have a great time while fostering strong, authentic bonds between people who work together? They've created a catalog of innovative events using the power of play as a learning tool and tapping into the correlation of work and play. From scavenger hunts to Jeopardy and so much more, the team bonding of activities, be they live, virtual, or hybrid, maximizes the impact of team building with an accent on fun. So visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now. Team Bonding, when you want seriously fun results. And we are back with CJ, Stephanie, Jayne, Kevin, and myself. We're talking about the holidays. Stephanie, the power of play, what does that mean to you?
Oh my goodness, Rich. So I think as we grow up and I just got very excited about this question. We lose a big part of ourselves when we were kids that just did things for pure joy of it. I mean, I literally have butterfly clips in my hair because I was cleaning my room and I found them. And I thought, what, am I not going to wear these? So I think, as we're growing up and we take these jobs that are very important, of course, for so many reasons, and hopefully we do love what we do.
Right.
We start to lose that part of ourselves just very naturally that remembers that doing silly things is actually very beneficial to our mental health and just to life, like remembering what life is all about. You want to enjoy it. And so I think the power of play, it's so unbelievably important because it brings you back to that. It should be for no other reason than to have a good time and to remember that part of yourself that was able to let go and be free in that way. And also part of your individuality. Remember what it is that you like to do. That's just for yourself,
Guys, anybody else? The power of play. What are we thinking?
Well, I would say, to kind of piggyback on what Stephanie said,
go for it,
that the power of play, and that uninhibited, childlike force, that energy that comes out of you. What happens, though, is when you let go and allow yourself to be in that element, you learn things about yourself and how you interact with the people you work with in a way that you could never figure out just through the work that you're doing. It's that whole emotional intelligence thing where it's just taking yourself and who you truly are at the core of you and allowing yourself to be in another space, to have another way of coming together and interacting and communicating. I think that's really key in the power of play.
What's the quote on the power play, Jayne, Kevin? Stephanie, do you know it?
No, I was going to add, but...
Go. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, too, when we're talking about team bonding, everything that CJ said, it also allows you to connect to people because you start to realize you have things in common that is far deeper than where you live, where your kids go to school, where, it becomes like, wait, you also collect vintage comic books? And I didn't know. I do the same. And some of my favorite moments at these events are hearing two people who have worked together for 3 years find out something that they had in common. They had no idea. And they're like, oh, John, I'm texting you about this later. And it's so delightful to watch.
I'm feeling a little called out by Stephanie now, but
You know how there are some times that say you're walking into a new situation or trying something new and doing it alone seems very scary. But all of a sudden, when you're in a scenario, you're in a situation in which everyone has collectively said, yes, I'm going to do this thing. No matter how we end up, whether it be something cooking related, experiential, all of a sudden you're giving yourself permission to try something with other people who also don't know. And it's like we're either going to succeed together or fail together, like so many of our, business goals. But this, we get to have fun doing it. And all of a sudden we get to walk away from something, whether it be a party, an experience, a learning challenge. And we now have that shared experience, and we have just a more richer set of qualities as we come out of it. It's such a great thing, and the power of play is very real.
I do love those richer qualities. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jayne, do you remember the quote I was going on about earlier?
No.
Okay, great. I'll just throw it out there then. And I believe it's an old Greek expression. You can learn more while playing with someone for 30 minutes. You can learn more about that person than you can in a lifetime of communication.
Yeah.
Because when you play, you actually get to see who the person really is. And let's go back in our memory banks, gang. I want to find out what are some of the, especially around the holidays, what are some of the most real things we have seen clients do? Not naming names, but basically any lovely, embarrassing stories that we might be willing to share from.
I've got one.
Go, Jayne, go. Yeah. Start us off.
Jayne.
We had a wonderful group doing the mural, and they did a holiday mural.
Nice.
And a small group. So when I first walk in, they're very like, no, I don't want to do anything. Who is this woman? Go away. Okay, fine. Then we have some fun, and they're doing it. And I thought, oh, they're doing this really quickly and they've got too long. I'm going to throw them a curveball. So I asked them all to kind of switch and move around away from their mural and go to another panel. The same person who's like, go away, I don't want to do anything is, what? You're kidding me? Because they had grown so attached to that throwing in this curveball. So I loved it to say to this person, half an hour ago, you didn't like me and you didn't want to do it. Now you don't want to let go of that. It was an interesting move, but it was so much fun because then everyone else is having a good time and going, yeah, I know what you mean. Yes.
How could they not like you, Jayne? You are literally Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
They come in, and unless Jayne is shaped like an open bar, sometimes people judge. Sometimes people judge. They're like, well, this isn't the shape I expected. And then all of a sudden they have to learn. They have to learn the hard way.
Which that actually brings up one of my favorite memories. It was, again, a holiday party, but it was a virtual, back when we were still in the middle of lockdown. And I had a bunch of people on getting ready for an At the Races, for a horse racing game. And it's one of those moments when you have 30, 40 people arrayed on your Zoom screen, and you're not always sure who's saying what or who is muted and who's not. But I very clearly got to hear this one man say, no, honey, daddy can't play with you right now. I'm doing another stupid team building thing.
Yes.
To which I was like, and we might want to remember whether we're on a live mic or not when we say things like that. But that joke, that story hit me so strong. It is now something that I say at almost all of my live events when I tell them how grateful I am that I'm back in front of people.
That's great. I would have had everyone cheer for that. I would have been like, here's for being part of a team bonding event.
Oh, they were all laughing. Trust me. They were all I should have taken a screen capture because I'd never seen that many people on Zoom happy. Speaking of which, Jayne,
one of my events, then, Rich.
Yeah, go, Steph, go.
No, I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay. So, Jayne, what are we looking at balance-wise? Like you said, 2 years ago, we were all virtual because that's all we could be. What was last year like comparatively?
Last year, too, a lot of virtual, mainly virtual. This year, definitely in person. I'm predicting that virtual is still going to be busy, just simply because of the timing and the cost and getting people together and travel, and that people are really getting the point that we need to come together and communicate and celebrate more than ever in the team building history that I've ever known, like 25 years of doing it. So that's really exciting. So I think it's going to be both. And I think the in-persons are going to be, we're seeing people do, 30 people and groups up to 500. It doesn't matter. They're looking at that. They're inquiring now. They're looking at all sorts of different options. So I'm seeing it as being really busy, maybe more in person than virtual, but just as busy, if that makes sense.
Guys, let's hear a group consensus. What do we prefer? Virtual? Live?
I'm not going to Sophie's Choice that thing. I love them both. I honestly do. And I am not even saying that for the sake of the podcast. There are so many wonderful, wild things that we get to do virtually, whether it be through the use of sound in virtual backgrounds. This is virtual, though, not me. But things that we can design, things that we can throw together, things that we can really customize in the virtual world for people all over the world, usually very quickly. And we get to have so much fun doing it, but obviously there's nothing like getting people together, and people have embraced that to no end in 2022. And people, I've been seeing and hosting groups that people are literally looking at each other for the first time after seeing people in squares on Zoom, literally saying, "Oh my God, you're so much taller than I thought." And people are just diving into that. And obviously we have such a great time doing it live because there's nothing like feeling the energy of a full room.
Speaking of taller than I thought, Stephanie?
I also really love both. I do a lot of virtual, so I think, I play favorites there, but I just love being able to sign on, and you have people from New York, you have people from Sweden, you have people from Japan. Someone's tired. Because someone it's 3 a.m. and usually it's me. But I love virtual for allowing people to get together in that way. And I personally enjoy because we did all have that Zoom fatigue, right, for so long when the pandemic started. So kind of making this platform fun again in ways that Kevin mentioned, but also calling on people, not in a way, you always have to read the room. You don't make anyone comfortable, but just like watching someone's face kind of light up when they get called on, or you've noticed something that they've done, and making it fun like that. So I love both, but I am partial to virtual.
And finally, CJ, what do you think?
To the flip side of Stephanie, I would say I'm partial to live events.
Oh, dare to be bold. Go on, CJ, tell us why.
Mostly because, there's nothing like the energy that a group of people in one room, can come up with. It's just infectious. It's been a lot of fun getting back to live, and very meaningful for a lot of people who haven't been together for periods of time. There's a new meaning to live events now because we've been virtual for so long.
Very true. Let's go back to me as this heretofore, never heard of before client of no specific corporate organization. I'm
That's
trying
a weird
to
business card.
Yeah, it's just bigger. But I'm trying to come up with ways to make the holiday fun for the people who are coming on. What kind of recommendations could I get? Besides the actual gameplay itself, besides the amazing things that we're going to be bringing to them, what could we recommend for them to already tell their base about?
I would say for virtual, I would say definitely if you're wanting to advertise early, I don't mean advertise, I mean tell your folks, invite them early and throw in some giveaways that will be random and fun, but you have to be online. We don't want to see the empty chair and that person still wins the cruise. Like they have to be there. Make it fun for that. Throw in a teaser that the CEO will sing a song or something fun will be happening during that. And keep it, don't do it Friday 8 p.m. in the evening. Like think about we're all humans. We have families. We have things to do. And even if it's virtual, maybe you've still got to go and pick up children and look at the timing. Do it during the day so that it feels like a treat, not I've got to join, but it's my evening when I would rather be having dinner. Think about things like that. And as I say, keep it nice and simple. And think about, we do things with shipping, we do mixologies, we do chocolates and things like that. But think about that nice and early, because shipping during the holiday season is really complicated.
Yeah.
So think about that really early. Think about the coordination of that. All of those things are important. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Steph, I noticed you had your hand up.
You can really tell the difference when there's a company that's planned something because maybe someone suggested that it's good for morale and they've thrown it and they're like, this might work. And then when a company really wants to show their employees how much they mean to them and really celebrate them. And kind of like what Jayne was saying, maybe don't do it on a Tuesday in the middle of the day when they have a meeting that they have to leave early for. Think about that as well. And I really love a good kickoff speech, especially virtual. I love whether it's the CEO, the president, whoever planned the event comes on, and truly it can be, 1 minute. But when they come on and they're like, hey, gang, this is for you. Just have fun. Get a drink, have a snack. Sometimes they've sent it and it's not even through, they've done it on their own. They've sent them chips or little bottles of wine.
S'mores.
Yeah, s'mores.
Or
all
an
these
Uber Eats gift card.
Exactly. There's all these extras. And even if it's not through money, if it's just like Jayne said, do something silly with it. But when someone gets on there and they have a great speech about how lucky they are to have everyone there and they just want to give them back their time and make it about them so they can breathe and be in the moment, it makes such a big difference for the rest, the vibe and the energy for the rest of the event.
I didn't think that I was going to see as much as I did and see so many people participating so strongly. And now I believe I can add it to my resume. I have judged so many ugly sweater contests on Zoom. It is amazing. So you see, especially, and that leads into the planning of this, right? That when people know that everyone's going to be doing this, come on over, get your ugly sweaters, and people are turning on their cameras. And I see an array. Some of them have lights attached to them. There was one, my favorite one, that it looked like sort of like this green dress that had layers. The second she opened up her arms, it was a Christmas tree. That was it. That was nice. It. The best design. It was like a Cinderella costume. Turn it around. But yeah, when you see people coming on and they are decorated and ready to go, you know that not only have you done your job as whether it be the HR or the whoever was planning the event and deciding to call TeamBonding, but you brought your excitement to the rest of the people who are going to be signing on. And when you see everyone like that, to the least we take pictures.
We love that for Halloween too. So they will dress up, they will do something like the haunted house, but they will, people are dressed up. It's fun. We're doing the bingo with the Halloween music and things like that, and people will dress up. That's great.
CJ, what do you want to throw in? Anything? 3
things that I love in all of these events, and you've already said 2 of them: food, costumes, dancing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would also add whenever we get either like fur babies or family members involved. It's by far my favorite part of these virtual events is when we can bring the family in. We see the newborn baby that maybe the whole company is just seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's fun and it means a lot to people.
Jayne, of course, what about denomination? Because there's so many religions that are based around celebrating at that time of year.
Yeah, we are very aware of that. And the event managers will, if you're doing virtual, you will mainly work with me. But we will always ask and that's important. And we will always say holiday versus, That's really important. As indeed, if we're global, the differences, and me being British, but in America, but I get it. There are things that
Boxing Day is not a thing here, Jayne.
Don't ask me all questions about, I can't think about baseball. I'm not going to know it.
Good.
So
could you explain Good
King
Wenceslas to us?
Right. No, not doing that. So we know.
I'm always up for a good wassail.
We not doing that again. And so we know that. We know, we've been around for how many years? 20, I don't know, nearly
20 some.
30
Yeah.
We really know what works and what doesn't, and we respect people and who are in front of us. And that's really important. And I always say, holiday season, whether we are in person or virtual, we are actually the most boring people at the party. If your client goes there, and we know what I'm referring to, in too much celebration and begins in heightened talk, I sound like I'm from Bridgerton or something. But no matter what we might think, we don't go there. Everything is very family related. In virtual world, you never know who's listening and who's going to walk through the living room. So we are very respectful of that. And that's important. That's good for our clients to know.
The reason that I asked, Jayne, isn't it also possible that sometimes in these live holiday events, a certain famous visitor from the North will come along and make his presence known?
Inside connections.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Yes.
Nice.
So we do, again, if that is wanted, we are all about that. We can celebrate, we can include. That's a beautiful thing to do, but we will definitely find out. But yes, that is a wonderful option. Good. I don't know how you remembered that, Rich.
I'm never there when he is. So, sorry,
No.
Stephanie, of course, I'm talking about Hanukkah Harry.
That's right.
Oh, no.
I just wanted to clarify. Okay, good.
No, of course. I know. What's the other one that's not Elf on the Shelf?
I bought that for my mother as a joke.
This must be a New Jersey.
Mensch
on a bench. I was like, is this a New York thing?
I mean, but on the Upper West Side, yes it is.
Well, all right then.
We thought of it here.
Yeah, and here's a good thing. The gingerbread program that we do in person as well as virtual, we do a twist on it. So it isn't a gingerbread house that you're putting together and it's all, we have some really fun different decorations in there, different colors. And we're talking about create a gingerbread building, or as a whole team, an entire village. We're not expecting to see pretty houses. Our favorite, I think Stephanie may have done it herself, was Las Vegas. We've had a gingerbread Las Vegas.
Awesome.
We've had a gingerbread zombie village.
Yes.
Really cool. So we love embracing everything. Why not? And that's, again, the power of play, I guess, playing with these themes and ideas.
But yeah, speaking of power of play, because you keep bringing it up, it's my absolute favorite holiday is Halloween. I mean, as thrilling and lovely as the colder holidays are, especially for reasons to get together with family, or I should say excuses to get together with family and whatnot, what are we offering up for Halloween? What kind of things can we expect to see?
We want guys in person decorating pumpkins and racing them. I love that program. It's so cool.
That's a fun one.
And it is really cool. We do our wonderful catapult to success, but given that we could be outside and not in a ballroom with chandeliers, we're going to be catapulting mini pumpkins. I love it. Awesome. And then virtually we do pumpkin carving. We do send a kit, you get your pumpkin, everybody's carving and showing what they've done, guided by a professional pumpkin carver who is also our professional ice sculptor, which is something else that we also do in person and online. Very cool. So, and of course, our classic almost anything goes trivia. We completely Halloween theme it. Lots of movies in there, lots of scary books. groups, and the facilitators love to dress up and do, as Kevin said, the sound effects and the looks. It's really cool. And of course, your classic murder mystery, not to be forgotten. So those are always good during Halloween as well. Again, in person and virtually.
Jayne felt me glaring at her when that's why she mentioned murder mysteries.
No, I always no glare needed. I'm very proud of that, and Rich leads a lot of them, so I'm very proud of that.
I did an in-person pumpkin race for a cosmetic surgery office, and you could just imagine what these pumpkins look like before they started racing them. I mean, they started doing procedures on the pumpkins. I saw lip fillers. One of my favorite ones, little Botox. I actually saw one where they cut up some pipe cleaners to give the pumpkin hair plugs. It was amazing.
God, that's awesome.
I love that. I love that. I had a gingerbread event. And one woman, Jayne was saying that they get really creative. And one woman ripped the head off of her child's doll to use on the house. I forgot what the theme was. I think they were doing Netflix theme. So every person in the group did a different big Netflix show. And whatever it was, she needed that head. And we were terrified for her. We were like, please update us when you talk to the child. I don't know how this is going to go, but you know what? The gingerbread house was fantastic.
That's very much the difference between Stephanie and I. She says to the person, "You need to let us know how this went with the kid." I say to the person, "Get the kid here before you do it. I want to see it live on this production." CJ, you were going to add something.
No, I was going to say there is one event that is a lot of fun, and it's for Halloween, and you left it out, Jayne, is the haunted houses, which is an escape room, right?
Yeah.
I know that
people... At the beginning, yeah. It's cool. Yeah, that's all right. It's a very cool escape room to do virtually. Yeah, very cool.
I think that's
difficult.
Yes.
Difficult, but really fun. And again, facilitated in full costume and scariness. It's great. Yeah, very good.
I think that's just CJ's way of telling you he wants a part of that job. All right.
I did. Let's go.
Guys, we could talk about this forever. Thank you all so much for coming on. It means the world to me. It's not only that I get to, for those of you out there who are still wondering if this is something you could do, just the fact that I get to sit here for this 45 minutes talking to my dear friends from work about why you should be getting together with your dear friends from work, that just makes my day so special. Before we do sign on, I do want to ask, Kevin, is there anything coming up for you that you want to share with my team so they can find out about you or see where you're going to be?
My world is very team bonding, and I get to go where team bonding tells me to. I'm mostly out of the tri-state area, a lot of New Jersey, New York City, and New York State. I get to pop over to Texas in a couple of weeks to do some massive live events of people loving to get together. But I've been popping up in a few different homes via Zoom. So excited to see you coming into the holiday season.
Excellent. CJ, go.
Well, I would say that if you book a virtual murder mystery, chances are you're going to see me and Rich. But other than that, yeah, same thing as Kevin. I mean, I'm loving the live and being with people and being able to travel and meet different types of people. So that's what's going on in my world. And I'm excited for it.
The weirdest thing is we have such a cavalcade of actors and performers who do this with us, either assisting or as lead facilitators. It is amazing to me that with all of the murder mysteries, especially virtually, that you and I have done, CJ, I have never once asked Stephanie, star of stage and screen, Stephanie Windland, star of Peas in a Pod web series, Stephanie Windland, to actually come on and do a show with us. That must be rectified.
That's true. She's done it live. She's done it live. I've brought her on for a couple of live ones. We've done Clue. She's quite good at that.
And just know, I've been thinking about it. This isn't something I know I haven't been asked. That's definitely...
I will make it up to you, Steph, in the year. Especially with this holiday coming, I'm going to have lots of time to do it.
I'll be here. I did play a mean Miss Scarlet, if I do.
So true.
That's
so true. If she turned around her webcam now, you would see that paper that has the hatch marks as to how many days you haven't asked her to do a murder mystery.
That's
and
a big piece of
small
paper.
room, so it's
Yeah. Is it just the wallpaper now? Is it just everywhere? Stephanie, what do you have coming up, though? What's coming up for you?
Coming up in terms of these events?
Or anything you'd like.
All right.
Because I know you have, unlike the rest of us who just kind of gave up on acting and decided that this paid us better. I know
you.
You have like an actual acting web page and so forth. If you wanted to share that with my team.
Gosh, no, I'm not going to share the webpage because that's under construction and it's going to be better. But at some point in the future, there will be a StephanieWindland.com. That's being revised. But in terms of, we got two things here. In terms of acting, I will be in a play at the end of September, beginning of October in Summit, New Jersey, playing an 18-year-old with alien hand syndrome. So that should be fun. If you'd like to, it's very outrageous and wild. But I will also be on your Zoom screens and your WebEx screens and your Blue Jeans screens, doing all sorts of things, bringing elephants to Mars and leading... forcing people to put spaghetti into cups because what else? That's my favorite kind of stuff. My favorite kind of thing. Also tri-state area with Kevin, but I'll go wherever I do. I travel well.
Nice. And Jayne, what about you? Where can people find you?
I am working very hard at TeamBonding. Come visit me anytime there. And I love we are busy with the summer, but getting ready for Halloween and the holiday season is always good. I'm also looking at the more serious training programs that we do. So really launching those and changing those, updating everything that we do, emotional intelligence, and perhaps launching a series of conversations so that leadership teams can get together and talk about some issues that they're looking at, some ideas, some tips, and just doing those kind of maybe weekly conversations would be pretty exciting to do. So I'm pleased about that. And I am a creative writer, which I love, and I'm passionately writing my next full-length play and have a few things pottering about there. So I'm a very lucky person.
Jayne is super modest. She's a phenomenal writer.
Whoa, thank you.
All right, gang. I hope you've enjoyed being here, and I hope you continue to do so because it's time for my speed round. Speed round. The first time anybody's actually laughed at my radio DJ sound effect. Awesome. Usually people are just like, oh, yeah, sure, this is exactly what I expected to hear right then. But you guys actually, you got it.
It's because I know it's you.
All right, here's how this is going to work. We're going to give 60 seconds. There's going to be music playing in the background during the entire time. That's how I keep track of the time. I am just going to ask you a bunch of innocuous questions. They have nothing to do really with anything, just non-specific questions for vague answers you want to give. You're going to be doing this as a team, which means I will either call you out by name and you will answer as quickly as you can, or I will just say a question with no name attached. And the first person to shout out, that's the answer for the team. The objective here is try to get as many questions answered as you can within 60 seconds. And if you guys are feeling it all competitive, like I know you are, the number to beat so far is 14.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Short answers, guys. Short answers.
I love that they're strategizing already. That's team building facilitation for you.
I'm
right
ready.
There. All right, my friends. As soon as you hear the music, I'll ask the first question, and away we go. Stephanie, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Going to Disney World.
Jayne, if you could live in any TV home, what would it be?
Quick answer, Jayne.
Clooney's kitchen.
There you
Great.
go. CJ, what are you most proud of in your life?
My marriage.
Kevin, who's the funniest person you know?
Oh, Stephanie Windland.
What's one thing you remember from kindergarten?
The smell of crayons.
Napping accidentally.
Jayne, what's your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Stephanie, what food would you like for the rest of your life?
Sushi.
If you could be a cartoon character, which one would you be?
Winnie the Pooh.
CJ, what's the most beautiful place you've ever visited?
India.
Kevin, favorite movie?
American Beauty.
And Stephanie, ice cream.
Caramel.
I'll give it to you. Gang,
Ooh.
11.
11.
You got 11.
Sorry.
I blame Jayne.
TV Home. You know what I thought of?
What?
TV Home. Handmaid's Tale. And I went, I can't see that. In that home.
I really wish you did.
That is so...
Yeah, but then we'd be laughing so hard we'd have lost 5 to 7 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
That is so staying in the show. Oh, my friends, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And thank you, my team. That's it. It's time to wrap up yet another episode of Team Building Saves the World. If you've enjoyed this episode, whether you're new to the podcast or an old fan of the show, please be sure to share with everyone you know. Whether they're a coworker, a friend, a family member, whatever. It just helps us to share vital information to all the people out there, and I want everyone to meet the crazy people that I work with, hence this episode. You can find out all about us, including all of our past episodes, at teambonding.com/podcast. You can also find us wherever you find your favorite podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Wherever you go to listen, we will be there. And if we're not there, I want you to reach out to us on the social medias at Team Bond Podcast and tell us where we're not, so I can be where you are. Plus, while you're on those social medias, leave us a comment. Tell us what you liked about this show, how much fun you had listening to this one, or if you want to hear a specific topic for a future episode, let me know what that is. We're looking to share this information with you, and I want to hear what you have to say. So, my friends, before we say our final farewell for this episode of Team Building Saves the World, please never forget, if you are within the sound of my voice, you're on my team now, and I am forever going to be on yours. So long, team, and I'll see you all next time.
It's been said that you learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. So why not put your coworkers to play with the help of the team at Team Bonding? Team Bonding was founded over 20 years ago with one simple question. How can employees have a great time while fostering strong, authentic bonds between people who work together? Their catalog of innovative events includes scavenger hunts, Jeopardy, and much more. Each activity, whether live, virtual, or hybrid, maximizes the impact of team building with an accent on fun. Visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now. Team Bonding, when you want seriously fun results.